Hello there, how are you doing? It's Simon Lewis here from onshaw.net with a short video to show you an overview of how I created this generator for a unit of work using AI. I thought it might be just useful for people who are interested in what I'm doing with Mash.plus to find out what kind of programming I'm doing at a higher level rather than going into a lot of detail because there's quite a bit in it. It uses OpenAI, which is where you probably know ChatGPT from. I use Google scripting with Google Sheets, and I use a website called make.com. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just show you very quickly how this website, by typing in a location, eventually gets to a situation where it basically creates a post in WordPress, which contains all the information, or a worksheet or a unit of work on a townland of your choice. So just for those of you who haven't seen the video or the website before, what you can do is you can type in any area of Ireland, any air code, any address, any school, anything at all, and it will output a town, the townland, the local townland. Just at random, I'm going to type in where I grew up. I don't live here anymore. So we'll go, this was my address. It knows that's Rathmines. Now this is already in the system. So what it's going to do is it's going to not let me submit. It'll come up with an error eventually to say that you can't submit there. So it's just the script is working away in the background there. So eventually when you click submit, it runs a script. I just want to show you before that the form that's used. I'm using Gravity Forms. I really like Gravity Forms. I've been using it for several years, but I've also an add-on to that is called Gravity Perks. And what Gravity Perks does is it adds these sort of superpowers to your forms. And I really love it because it seems to be able to do so much. And the perks that I'm using involve this one here is when you type in your street, your school, your townland, or your air code, what it is, this add-on actually links with Google Maps. So it automatically completes the address that you've typed in. So that's how this bit is working, that when you type in your address in here, that it actually knows where these places are. So it automatically completes it. And what it does then, and this is the thing, is to stop you having to type in the rest of it, it also automatically fills in these areas. And then the magic over here is what happens. This bit, the HTML content, that basically is a piece of HTML that shows up only when repetition. So if someone has entered the same address beforehand, and what it is, it basically says this is already in place, so it doesn't allow you to submit. It also, and these are the bits where it checks that. So this is a hidden field. It basically checks a Google Sheet to see if the townland already exists. And if it does, it compares this field to this field. And if they're the same, this message shows up and the submit button here disappears. So that's how that's working. And how does it know that it exists? Because every time you type in an address, or every time you click the submit button, it goes into this other add-on which links into Google Sheets, and it basically adds in the addresses that people have typed in. So these are all the addresses that people have typed in, which is quite a lot at this point. And what I do after getting it, what happens then is I set a script, and the script is here, which takes in row by row. So it looks for each row number. It starts off at whatever row number it's at the moment. It's processing still. It's on the 267th one. And what it does is it basically sets off with some scripting. And the scripting, I'm not going to go into any detail on it, but just a small amount of detail. It basically, this script here, it uses OpenAI for prompting, so text prompting. So I'll show you an example of that. This one generates an image in DALL-E 3. And again, I'll show you an example of that. And then it goes into the scripting for real, where it takes the information from this sheet, maybe takes this and this thing here, your townland here. And what it does is it says this is the townland, the town, the county, the air code. So it takes them in as variables. And so what we're going to use in the full address is all those addresses. And then let's go with the prompt. So for example, your system prompt is write a 200-word piece of text about the townland of whatever the townland is, and in the county. It should be about the history of the townland. If something happened there in history, focus on the story of that. If nothing of note happened, just give some general information. So you get these kind of prompts that you type in, and they all go into here, the history of the townland. So AI generates these. It also then creates an image of that, and I get them and I save them into Google Drive, because when OpenAI or DALL-E generates an image, it only creates it temporarily on their servers. So I've had to create a script that downloads that OpenAI file into my Google Drive. So that's where that is. You'll notice here that there is a few things. So I'm getting the history of the townland, geography of the townland, an image for the history, an image for the geography. I've got a child. I want a child basically in that town with their family. So there's an example there. I want a child in class learning about the area with posters on the wall of that area. The color there I wouldn't worry too much about that. That's from another thing called Placid .app, which generates the thumbnails for the post. I'm not going to be showing you much on that, but it's a really good app, Placid.app. This is a blank kind of thing, which I used for a different script before. The level, the third class level, cert to success level is the same. The URL, so that's the web address that I want to use. So it takes out all the spaces and any quotation marks and all the rest of it. Then I have the lesson plan, which is automatically generated, hoping that it generates as a HTML file, the title of the chapter, which it generates, then the unit of work, section 1, 2, 3, and 4, which are automatically generated. Then I'll create a slideshow, and that takes a lot of scripting as well. So again, I won't show you the level of that. And then obviously there is another thumbnail there that might be needed for something else. That's Balana there. So there you go. That's what's on the Google Sheet. That's what's generated by that script. And that script is quite long and it has a lot of stuff in here. This one, for example, is just about the slideshow, which takes up a lot of space. And the unit of work then has a lot of prompting there. You can see lots of prompts there. So for example, this one is section 4. Can you write an article with no heading about words of the logarithm of the address, explain what it means in English, and so on. So there's quite a lot of stuff that goes in there. Once everything is in place here, what I use is this app, and I absolutely love this app. If only I was better at programming, I wouldn't need it. But it's called, and I use it for everything. You can see I have quite a lot of this stuff here. What I use is something called make.com, and make.com basically takes all the information on that sheet. And what it does is you can create a kind of a step-by-step of what you want to do. So for example, it takes in Google Sheets, it looks for a new row. Then it goes to placid.app, which is a thing that it makes a thumbnail for WordPress. So basically all that does is it takes one of those pictures and it makes it look like this. So with pink background, the text there. It's a really good app. As I said, I don't really have time to go into it there. Then there is getting the file. So I'll just show you what that does. It basically creates a file, and in that file, you have the worksheet essentially. It uploads into a folder. Then it creates basically a featured image for your WordPress file. So I upload that Placid image into WordPress. Then I create some more HTML and upload that. Then I convert the HTML using Cloud Convert into a PDF and a Word file, and they're saved onto Google Drive. Finally, I create a post in WordPress, which basically puts everything together. So it's a bit of a rigmarole and it takes a little bit of time, but does make logical sense. The tool I like the most of this one, where you can use a bit of HTML. Most people have a slight familiarity with HTML. There's nothing sophisticated about the HTML. You've got your title, and it's just basically what it takes is the Google Sheet thing, and it gives your lesson plan. So that's the one for the lesson plan. It just copies the text essentially for that. And this one is a little bit more sophisticated. It takes the chapter title and then it creates a table with borders with your unit of work. So section 1, section 2, section 3, section 4. And it just basically turns it into a website, which is fair. And it's really straightforward stuff. I think the most complicated bit is this one, which isn't even that important. That's just really for me to allow me to use some of the fonts that I use on it, really, no more than that. Other than that, it's very straightforward. And it uses the Google Sheet stuff as variables. So that's what I really like about it. And when it all comes together, it turns it into your townland. I'll just refresh the page to see where it is at the moment. What's the last one that's been made? It's Billera, Eastern County Cork. I don't know where Billera, Eastern County Cork is. So I don't know how accurate it's going to be, but we'll have a little click. Beautiful townland tucked away in charming County Cork. And the history of places like colourful quilt. I think what I like about this is it's pretty good. What you're getting is pretty good generation of text, and it gives you the questions. It generates the geography, so it's a small area, things to do, flora and fauna there, so wildflowers, There's not many big streets in Billericay East, poor old Billericay East. And what else? Natural beauty seems to be the thing there. There's this family. It's Harper here, who's 8, lives Billericay House. And then we've got the look at him, and it tells you what it means. And it's pretty good. It's pretty accurate. This is actually one of the more accurate ones. And the good thing about this is you can, at the end, you can just print it as it is. You've got your slideshow if you want it. You've got your set of teaching plans as well, which you can click and you can download the worksheet as a PDF or as a Word file in case there's inaccuracies there that you might want to fix for your own class. And that's it, really. It's fairly complex to generate it. I just wanted to show you what I've been doing to make it. AI has really fascinated me for the last little while. And I thought I'd just share it on a higher level, what I've been doing with the relearning a bit of code again. And if this, I suppose, as a result, if you've watched this, you might actually, if you have any questions about the specifics, I'll try and answer them. I'm no expert at coding, as any coder will probably look at this and go, oh my God, that's horrendous. But that's how I'm doing it. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks so much for watching.